Before we delve into the chilling events that took place in Enfield, let's set the stage. The late 1970s in England was a time of social change and economic uncertainty. The Hodgson family, living in a modest council house, were like many others, just trying to get by. Single mother, Peggy Hodgson, was raising her 4 children: Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. They had no idea that their lives were about to be turned upside down. It began with small, almost imperceptible events. A knock here, a whisper there. But soon, the disturbances escalated. Objects moved without explanation. Disembodied voices echoed through the house. The family sought help from neighbors, who witnessed the phenomena themselves. The police were called, and even they couldn't rationalize what they saw. What started as a series of eerie occurrences quickly grew into a full-blown haunting, capturing the attention of the media and the public. The Enfield Poltergeist became a phenomenon, sparking debates and investigations that spanned years. But what was really happening inside that house? Was it a case of mass hysteria, a clever hoax, or something far more sinister? The Hodgson family was an ordinary working-class family living in Enfield, England, in the late 1970s. Peggy Hodgson, a single mother, was raising her 4 children: Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. They lived in a modest council house at 284 Green Street, a seemingly unremarkable home that would soon gain international notoriety. Janet Hodgson, the 11-year-old daughter, became the unexpected focal point of the haunting. Described as lively and full of energy, Janet's life took a terrifying turn when the inexplicable phenomena began. She experienced the most intense and disturbing events, from levitation to strange voices emanating from her small frame. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers were drawn into the Hodgsons' plight, each witnessing events that defied rational explanation. Janet's older sister, Margaret, often acted as her protector, while their younger brothers, Johnny and Billy, were equally bewildered and frightened by the occurrences. Despite the chaos, the Hodgson family tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy. Peggy, the matriarch, did everything she could to shield her children from the relentless media attention and skepticism that surrounded their story. Her resilience became a cornerstone for the family as they navigated the extraordinary circumstances thrust upon them. The Enfield Poltergeist case is not just about the paranormal, it's also about a family's struggle to cope with the unimaginable. At its heart, it is the story of the Hodgsons, whose lives were forever changed by the inexplicable events that took place within their home. Who were the Hodgsons before the haunting? Ordinary people, like you and me. But their story reminds us that sometimes, the most extraordinary events can happen to the most ordinary people. The first signs of the haunting began subtly, almost innocuously. It was August 1977 when Peggy Hodgson first noticed something amiss. It started with strange noises, soft knocks at first, barely audible, but growing louder and more insistent as days passed. The children, initially dismissing the sounds as the creaks and groans of an old house, soon realized there was something more sinister at play. One evening, as the family gathered in the living room, a chest of drawers inexplicably moved across the floor. Peggy, bewildered and frightened, pushed it back only to watch in horror as it slid forward again, seemingly of its own accord. This was no longer something they could ignore. The disturbances escalated quickly. Objects were thrown across rooms with no apparent force behind them. Toys would fly off shelves, and chairs would tip over as if an invisible hand had knocked them. Janet, the primary focus of these occurrences, often found herself in the epicenter of the chaos. Books would fly off her shelves, and her bed would shake violently in the middle of the night. Neighbors were soon drawn into the unfolding drama. Mrs. Notting, a close friend and neighbor, witnessed a series of bizarre events firsthand. On one occasion, she saw a heavy armchair lift off the ground and crash back down, narrowly missing one of the children. The Hodgsons were no longer alone in their terror. The inexplicable events were now being witnessed by others, adding credibility to their claims. The local police were called in, and even they were not immune to the strange happenings. One officer reported seeing a chair move across the floor without any visible cause. Despite their efforts, No logical explanation could be found, and the phenomena continued unabated. These initial disturbances were just the beginning of a much larger and more terrifying series of events. The Hodgson family, once ordinary, now found themselves at the mercy of forces they could neither understand nor control. As the haunting grew more intense, so did the fear and uncertainty that gripped 284 Green Street. What started as soft knocks and moving furniture would soon escalate into a full-blown poltergeist phenomenon, capturing the world's attention and leaving an indelible mark on the field of paranormal research. With the initial disturbances now a terrifying part of daily life, the Hodgson family faced an escalation that took the haunting to darker, more sinister depths. The most alarming events centered around Janet Hodgson, the second eldest child, who seemed to be the primary target of the malevolent forces. The first sign of this terrifying escalation came when Janet began to exhibit unusual and disturbing behaviors. She would enter trance-like states, during which her voice would change unnaturally, sounding guttural and far older than her years. She claimed to be possessed by an entity named Bill Wilkins, a man who purportedly died in the house years before. Janet would often speak in this deep, gravelly voice, recounting details about Bill's life and death that an 11-year-old girl could not possibly have known. But it wasn't just the voice that alarmed the family and investigators. Janet's body would sometimes contort into unnatural positions, and, on more than one occasion, she was reportedly seen levitating. Eyewitnesses, including neighbors and paranormal investigators, described seeing Janet lifted off her bed and hovering in mid-air. Photographs taken during these events showed Janet, seemingly suspended above her bed, a look of terror on her face. The eerie voice, the levitations, and the physical manifestations of the haunting drew the attention of the media and paranormal experts worldwide. Maurice Grosse and Lyon Playfair, members of the Society for Psychical Research, were among the primary investigators. They spent months documenting the phenomena, capturing audio recordings of the unsettling voice and witnessing objects moving on their own. Despite skepticism from some quarters, the sheer volume of evidence they gathered made it difficult to dismiss the occurrences as mere fabrications. The possession of Janet Hodgson remains one of the most controversial and debated aspects of the Enfield Poltergeist case. Was it a genuine case of paranormal activity, or a young girl seeking attention through elaborate hoaxes? The truth remains elusive, shrouded in the eerie and inexplicable events that transpired within the walls of 284 Green Street. As we continue our journey into one of England's most infamous hauntings, we delve further into the chilling encounters and the lasting impact they had on the Hodgson family and the world of paranormal research. As the haunting at 284 Green Street intensified, it drew the attention of not just the media, but also law enforcement and paranormal experts. The involvement of various investigators added a new layer of complexity to the already baffling case of the Enfield Poltergeist. The first official response came from the police. On the night of August 31st, 1977, officers arrived at the Hodgson residence after receiving a frantic call from the family. The police report details how a constable witnessed a chair move across the floor on its own, an experience that left the officers visibly shaken. Despite their training and skepticism, the inexplicable movement of the chair was something they could not easily dismiss. Neighbors, too, played a crucial role in documenting the bizarre occurrences. Peggy Hodgson's close friend, Vic Nottingham, and his family often heard strange noises emanating from the house, including knocking and disembodied voices. They were among the first to witness the unsettling events, adding credibility to the Hodgson family's claims. But perhaps the most significant contributions came from paranormal investigators, Maurice Grosse and Lyon Playfair. Members of the Society for Psychical Research, Grosse and Playfair, dedicated months to documenting the phenomena. They set up recording equipment throughout the house, capturing eerie voices, unexplained noises, and even objects moving on their own. Maurice Grosse, a seasoned investigator, was particularly struck by the case. He developed a close relationship with the Hodgson family, spending countless nights at their home. Grosse witnessed firsthand many of the strange events, including the levitations of Janet Hodgson and the movement of objects without any apparent cause. His extensive notes and recordings form a substantial part of the evidence supporting the haunting. Lyon. Playfair, an author and researcher, joined Grosse in the investigation. Together, they published a detailed account of the case in the book, This House is Haunted: The True Story of the Enfield Poltergeist. Playfair's meticulous documentation and analytical approach provided a comprehensive overview of the events, offering both believers and skeptics a wealth of information to consider. Despite their efforts, the case remained controversial. Some accused the Hodgson family of orchestrating an elaborate hoax, while others believed the evidence pointed to genuine paranormal activity. The involvement of credible witnesses, such as police officers and neighbors, along with the thorough investigation by Grosse and Playfair, made it challenging to dismiss the case outright. As we continue to explore the Enfield Poltergeist, we must consider the perspectives of those who were there, witnessing the inexplicable events firsthand. Their testimonies and the evidence they gathered contribute to the enduring mystery of one of England's most famous hauntings. As the Enfield Poltergeist case unfolded, it wasn't long before the media caught wind of the strange happenings at 284 Green Street. Newspapers, television reporters, and radio hosts all descended upon the quiet suburban home, turning it into a hotspot of public fascination and debate. Reporters were eager to capture the eerie events on film, and the Hodgson family found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of attention. Front-page stories and late-night broadcasts detailed the bizarre occurrences, from flying furniture to the eerie voice of Bill speaking through young Janet. The public was captivated, with many believing they were witnessing genuine paranormal activity. However, not everyone was convinced. The influx of media attention also brought a wave of skepticism. Critics argued that the family was seeking fame and fortune, accusing them of fabricating the events for publicity. Skeptical journalists and investigators scrutinized every piece of evidence, from photographs of levitating children to audio recordings of ghostly voices. Amidst the media circus, the Hodgson family faced intense scrutiny. Janet, in particular, bore the brunt of the skepticism. Some accused her of being an attention-seeking teenager, while others suggested she was a skilled ventriloquist, capable of producing the eerie voice of Bill. The young girl was subjected to numerous tests and interviews, both by paranormal investigators and skeptical researchers, all trying to determine the truth. Despite the criticism, the case continued to attract attention. Television programs and documentaries featured the Enfield Poltergeist, interviewing witnesses and showcasing the evidence collected by Maurice Grosse and Lyon Playfair. The public remained divided, with some convinced of the haunting's authenticity and others dismissing it as an elaborate hoax. The media frenzy surrounding the Enfield Poltergeist case highlights the complex interplay between belief and skepticism. While the attention helped to document the strange events, it also added pressure and doubt, complicating the search for the truth. As we delve deeper into the mystery, we must navigate the fine line between fascination and skepticism, seeking to understand the true nature of the Enfield Poltergeist. As the Enfield Poltergeist case continued to draw international attention, the scientific community and skeptics began to weigh in with their own explanations. Many argued that the events at 284 Green Street were not the result of paranormal activity, but rather a combination of psychological factors, misinterpretations, and deliberate hoaxes. One of the primary arguments made by skeptics was that the Hodgson children, particularly Janet, were responsible for staging the bizarre occurrences. They pointed to instances where Janet was caught bending spoons and bouncing on her bed, actions that could easily be misinterpreted as supernatural phenomena. Skeptics suggested that the children, craving attention and excitement, had orchestrated the events to create a thrilling story. Additionally, critics argued that the media frenzy itself may have contributed to the exaggeration of the events. With cameras and reporters constantly present, the pressure to produce sensational content could have led to embellishments or even fabrications. Some researchers noted that many of the most dramatic incidents occurred when the media was present, raising questions about their authenticity. Psychologists offered further explanations, suggesting that the stress and upheaval experienced by the Hodgson family could have resulted in psychosomatic symptoms and hysteria. The power of suggestion and the influence of collective belief were also considered significant factors. In a highly charged environment, even ordinary occurrences could be perceived as extraordinary. Despite these skeptical viewpoints, the Enfield Poltergeist case remains one of the most well-documented and debated hauntings in history. The arguments presented by skeptics provide a valuable counterbalance to the claims of paranormal activity, reminding us of the importance of critical thinking and scientific inquiry. As we continue to explore the mystery of the Enfield Poltergeist, it is essential to consider all perspectives, both skeptical and believing. Only by examining the evidence from all angles can we hope to uncover the truth behind this enigmatic case. As we reach the conclusion of our journey through the Enfield Poltergeist case, we are left with many unanswered questions. Was the haunting at 284 Green Street a genuine paranormal event, or was it an elaborate hoax orchestrated by the Hodgson family, particularly young Janet? On one hand, the sheer volume of witnesses, including neighbors, police officers, and paranormal investigators, lends a degree of credibility to the claims of supernatural activity. The consistency of their testimonies and the physical evidence, such as objects moving on their own and strange knocking sounds, cannot be easily dismissed. However, skeptics have presented compelling arguments that challenge the authenticity of these events. Instances where Janet was caught seemingly faking paranormal activity, such as bending spoons and bouncing on her bed, raise significant doubts. The possibility of the children seeking attention or the influence of the media. Frenzy cannot be overlooked. Moreover, psychological explanations offer a plausible alternative. The stress and turmoil experienced by the Hodgson family, combined with the power of suggestion and collective belief, could have created an environment ripe for misinterpretation and hysteria. In the end, the Enfield Poltergeist case remains one of the most enigmatic and debated hauntings in history. The evidence for and against its authenticity is compelling on both sides, leaving us with more questions than answers. As we close the book on the Enfield Poltergeist, it's important to reflect on the lasting legacy of this infamous case. The events that unfolded at 284 Green Street have left an indelible mark on popular culture, inspiring countless films, books, and documentaries. The story of the Hodgson family has captivated audiences worldwide, becoming a focal point in the ongoing debates within the paranormal community. From the chilling portrayal in The Conjuring 2 to numerous documentaries and investigative series, the Enfield Poltergeist continues to stir the imagination. These retellings have not only brought the case to a new generation, but have also sparked renewed interest in the mysteries of the supernatural. Beyond the realm of entertainment, the Enfield Poltergeist has had a significant impact on how we perceive and investigate paranormal phenomena. The case has prompted advancements in investigative techniques and has fueled discussions on the psychological and sociological aspects of hauntings. It has also highlighted the challenges faced by those who claim to experience the supernatural, often finding themselves caught between belief and skepticism. In the end, the Enfield Poltergeist serves as a reminder of the enduring human fascination with the unknown. It challenges us to question our understanding of reality and to remain open to the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of the ordinary. Whether viewed as a genuine haunting or an elaborate hoax, the legacy of the Enfield Poltergeist is a testament to the power of storytelling and the unending quest for truth. As we conclude our exploration of the Enfield Poltergeist, we turn the spotlight onto you, our viewers. The tale of the Hodgson family and their experiences at 284 Green Street has sparked countless debates and discussions over the years. Now, we want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the events that unfolded were genuine supernatural occurrences, or do you think they were the result of an elaborate hoax? Perhaps you have your own theories about what truly happened in that modest London home. Share your insights and beliefs in the comments below. Was Janet Hodgson possessed by an otherworldly entity, or was there a more rational explanation behind the phenomena? What do you make of the testimonies from investigators, neighbors, and the family themselves? Your perspective is invaluable in this never-ending quest for understanding. The Enfield Poltergeist case, like many other paranormal mysteries, remains open to interpretation. It's through sharing and discussing different viewpoints that we can continue to explore the boundaries of our reality. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. Remember, the search for answers is a collaborative effort, and every opinion brings us one step closer to uncovering the truth. Stay curious, keep questioning, and let's continue this conversation together. Until next time, keep your mind open and your spirit adventurous. What do you believe?